As humans deepened their relationships during the classical period, they became aware of an extraordinary realm beyond that of people and things. A realm they pointed to with a great many names, like paradise, the transcendent, the Tao, heaven. This was an untouchable realm, an unseeable realm, and yet a realm of such great force it changed the structure of all human societies. I'm Brian Thomas Swim with the Human Energy Project. Our series of short films explores the way humanity is building a global organism called the Noosphere. As we deepen our understanding of the Noosphere, we discover a collective meaning and purpose that will help us address our global challenges. In today's film, we examine the way in which population dynamics during the classical period of humanity participated in the building of this Noosphere. The classical era of humanity was a time when population was big enough for a small segment to dwell on matters unrelated to the practical concerns of survival. The quest became formalized when individuals joined together in a common search and instituted universities and temples where entire lives could be given over to study, to rational debate, to meditation and prayer, to philosophical reflection. Because their deepening relationships were mutually evocative, these privileged persons not only became aware of this extraordinary realm beyond people and things, they could feel its potencies pressing into them. By actualizing these potencies, they were transformed into higher and deeper forms of humanity. Words had to be invented to indicate what they had become. Prophets, rishis, scholars, shamans, sages, mahatmas, saints. The cost of these breakthroughs was borne by hundreds of thousands of serfs. In every classical civilization, a tiny segment of the population was free to focus on intellectual and spiritual development only because 98% of the society lived lives of drudgery, carrying out the back-breaking work of medieval agriculture. The pyramid became the central image of the hierarchical structure of classical civilization. The chosen few at the pinnacle, the rest of the population crushed beneath. But the spiritual development of these privileged few led to a dramatic reversal of human history. Intuition surfacing in these persons deconstructed the world that brought them forth. That is to say, some of the very best minds and spirits of classical civilization brought about the demise of the classical era when they saw a radical equality at the foundation of humanity. This spiritual insight cried out for a new order of society. We can see this same dramatic reversal in the emergence of life 4 billion years ago. Scientists hypothesize that the dynamics of a molten Earth showered with the radiant energy of the sun enabled minerals to create ever more complex molecules. The construction of spherical membranes was key, for now chemical creativity could be protected. It was inside these tiny spheres that interacting molecules found a magic, transforming non-living atoms into a living cell. This living cell was the crowning achievement of this chemical brew, but it was simultaneously its demise. The cells proliferated exponentially and consumed the very conditions that had given birth to them. If we had been born several thousand years ago, the vast majority of us would have been forced to live a serf's life. But we live in the time of transition, humanity is being liberated from poverty. Opportunities for spiritual development, once reserved for a tiny segment, are now offered more widely around the planet. To cite just one example, 2 centuries ago, 84% of humanity lived in the extreme poverty of serfdom and slavery. But from the increased productivity of our industries, the number living in extreme poverty today has been reduced to just 9%. You may hear this and think to yourself, even if the number in poverty is 1%, that's unacceptable. If that is your response, you are manifesting the reality of the extraordinary realm. For you see what could be. And if you decide to dedicate your life to the total eradication of extreme poverty, you will become a manifestation of that powerful force generated by the extraordinary realm. The fastest connection to this unseeable realm is through our fascinations and our allurements. For they speak to us of new possibilities, such dreams that first appeared in a rarefied few during the classical era are now spreading throughout every human population. A better world is pressing in upon us. This unseeable world, which we are drawn toward, is the noosphere rising. Its celebration is the primary work of the Human Energy Project.